right. Hey all, this is Paul from Drums and Rums with the Backbeats Meets the Spirits here. So thanks for tuning in here. It is not Thursday, it's not Wednesday, but it is actually Tuesday. So I know we're a little off here on our days here, and whoop, come a little strong there on the microphone there. All right. So yep. And so I just it's always about the checking the sound levels and volume and so forth here. So definitely thanks for all tuning in. And we had to move this podcast up a little bit here because most of you are all going to be checking out Thanksgiving. There's a holiday. There's other things going on tomorrow. A lot of people are traveling, so we figure we get this in before everybody sneaks out. And if you're already on vacation and hanging out with your family, definitely this is going to be a show. This is definitely going to go into overtime, and we're definitely not going to be a half an hour on this show. We got a lot to cover. We've got so much to do. Let me just get right to it here, and let me go ahead and introduce our guest. Is back. He's actually an alum now, and he's come back, and we've got a lot to talk about and some interesting information that has come up since he was on the podcast. So let me introduce to the podcast here, Matt Pietrek. Hey, how you doing, Matt?
Howdy.
Hey, so yeah, there's a lot since we last changed, right? I mean, or last talked, and one of the things is we talked about in the last podcast was a book, but
Hmm.
you snuck in a book after the podcast you were on, right? That was the big secret you couldn't share with me, but it was so close, right?
So close. Yes, exactly. And we didn't want to say anything about it until we were ready to announce it to the world. So we have announced it to the world just about a month ago, or a little under a month ago. So now we can talk about it with abandon.
There you go. Yeah. So again, yeah, let's talk about it real quick because I know that's the one that you want to kind of start getting the word out there. And from what I'm hearing of the some of the interviews you've done already, some of the other podcasts you've done, it is this is seems like this one is your labor of love.
Yes, it is. It is. It's the book I wanted to write when we ended up writing Minimalist Tiki. I had a vision for this book, and no publisher would take it on. They didn't think the world needed another rum book, and so there was one publisher that said, "Well, if you know, we like what you're doing, but we don't want a rum book. Maybe if we had a cocktail book." And it was my wife, Mrs. Wonk, who basically said like, if you don't go write what would become minimalist tiki, somebody else is going to do that, and then you're going to be pissed off, which was true. So we sort of put this one aside. We wrote minimalist tiki, moved to New Orleans, turned our life upside down. But once we got here in New Orleans, we started in earnest. So it's been sort of three years of hard work and 5 years of planning. So this is our rum book. Want me to show it?
Yeah, let's see it. I know
All right.
I've only seen again. I mean, I know
You
it's
only
still
see
not in
pictures.
person, but
All right.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
it's it's a
wow.
heavy beat. It is it's called Modern Caribbean Rum. I'm bringing it a little closer there.
Yep.
It is 8 pounds, 2 inches thick, 10 inches by 10 inches, 850 pages. And I'll just flip open to a random page here, but filled with all sorts. Oops, hold
There you
yeah, filled with all sorts of details about over 70 Caribbean rum distilleries, history of rum, business of rum. It's an encyclopedia of Caribbean rum world today. It's
Wow.
not a history book. It's not a book about 100 rums you should try before you die. Not a book of reviews. There's exactly zero reviews and zero tasting notes. But if you want to understand rum and want to understand who's making the rum and how they're making it, this is your encyclopedia.
Wow. So congrats again there, Matt. And I expect that this again I know you write this out of the love and the passion for doing these things. I know you're probably not what I'm going to say is you're probably not you didn't seek out to do this, but I feel that that book will become like this up there with what's the other the Smuggler's Cove book, or that everyone knows, and it's like a standard, and it's a like I said, that encyclopedia for people, and even just some of the things that are in the minimalist tiki book that I was just flipping through, and and thanks for getting it to me, in such quick turnaround,
Of course.
um, and I was just even kind of flipping through it, and just to get started, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of things in I wouldn't have expected in there. There's Again, I'm still very novice in the, tiki cocktail, which why is why we're doing this tonight here. We're gonna make some tiki cocktail. And, one of them that caught my eye was, wait a minute, there is a recipe in here for a tiki cocktail that's scotch. I think it was 3 dashes and a scotch or something, or 3 scotches and a dash.
Three Scots and is it three Scots and a dash or something like that. Yeah.
So I was like, "Wait a minute, that's not rum." So, but I guess again, it's a lot of great information. We did actually use it to make one of the ingredients for this cocktail we're gonna make tonight. So, yeah, no, look for it. So, are you done with all the tour, the press tour, the Oprah's book
Oh no,
club?
we haven't even started yet.
Oh,
We haven't. Yeah, I believe it will start once we actually have the book in hand. Sneak preview. The book is very close to us. It's been traveling for about a month from South Korea over the ocean, and we know that it's within a couple hundred miles of us at the most. And so hopefully within the next few days we'll actually have. I mean, we have 5 copies that were shipped via airplane to us. We have 20,000 pounds, or I'm sorry, 16,000 pounds, very close to it. So we're hoping to be able to start shipping those out, and at that point, that's I think when the real press tour is going to start.
right. Excellent. No. And how what if you go to the website, right? Cocktail
Yeah,
Wonk, and
actually, it would be Wonk Press.
okay.
So cocktailwonk.com is sort of my blog, and there's lots of tiki articles, rum articles, lots of information up there. And but more recently, sort of with the addition of the second book and with some other projects that we've started to talk a little bit more about, we've sort of like we've expanded and split our branding. So Cocktail Wonk remains the cocktail stuff. Uh, Wonk Press is the publisher, is a publisher of the book. So Minimalist Tiki and Modern Caribbean Rum. If you look on the spine of Minimalist Tiki, and right there at the bottom, you see at the very bottom there, you see where it says Wonk Press.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so Modern Caribbean Rum is also a Wonk Press book, and we have more books coming.
Mm,
You have more books, not just from me. We have books that we've been partnering with other people to write some amazing books that I think are going to be fantastic, very well tuned to our market here, but written by other people. So that's Wong Press, and then on top of that, I've sort of split off my rum specific content. I now have a Substack called Rum Wonk, and that's where I can sort of continue the articles that I had written for Cocktail Wonk, all the rummy articles in Cocktail Wonk. Now they're in my Rum Wonk Substack, and you can subscribe. It's free. Get your content in your inbox if you want. But it's sort of like it's a rebranding of me. Sort of like it was kind of hard to talk to like very important people in the rum world. And it's like, by the way, my email is cocktailwonk at gmail.com. So we sort of upped our branding and our logos and all that kind of stuff.
right.
So but Wonk Press is where we sell the books.
Got it.
So wonkpress.com, if you go there, you will see Minimalist Tiki, you'll see Modern Caribbean Rums for sale, and hopefully within a few months you'll see a third very exciting book.
Wait, there's more.
There's more. And there's more in the pipeline. There's all sorts of things.
Oh,
It feels like every time I'm on a podcast, there's some more really cool things I can't talk about yet.
there's always something in the fire there. So, all right. So I just put the link to Wonk Press there in the chat there. So if anybody
Thank
wants
you.
to check out the website there, again the books, like I said, it's I order, and I talked about it, and I know I think Matt may have thought I was forgot about him when I initially talked about him about it, ordering the books and this idea, and I said it just I'm getting around to it, but then there was, as you all remember, me talk about the 2 hurricanes in Florida that kind of threw a lot of things off, for us, so
Yeah.
especially for me.
Like they avoided us. So we're like we're like, stay that way.
Yeah, you guys had your turn, 2 years ago, so
Yeah, yeah, we had
2020.
our turn.
Yeah,
Yes.
so Yeah, so definitely check it out. Again, I think this is a great book. If you're looking for something, I mean, Christmas coming up, and I feel really bad, man. I Now that I thought about it afterwards, was I should have included this in the top. Some like there was a podcast that I did. It was five things for drummers and rummers. To get your if you have somebody in your life, and I think some of it was more about buying spirits though on the rum side, and it's like, and then I thought about it. It's like, well, shit, this would have been perfect for me to add. But anyway, so if you're watching this, or hold on, which camera? So if you're watching this, listening to this, this is a great book to get to buy for somebody for Christmas or your holidays or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you may celebrate. And it's probably, even if it's not your person who is a rum person or a tiki person, I think it's a great whether it's this book, where's the camera, whether it's this
Mhm.
book or Matt's new book. Again, I think it's a great book you could put on the coffee table. It's not all just about drinks. It's not all just about I mean, Matt goes into a lot of detail about even talking about the utensils and the equipment. Ice. There's a section about ice. So yeah, like I said, it's a lot of great information. Uh,
I'll just add, I kind of snuck a preview of the rum book into Minimalist Tiki. If you look in the chapters in the middle, there's kind of 4 chapters about rum, which I don't think any tiki book has ever bothered to have 50 pages just about rum. So yeah, so there's sort of like I'm going to when I was writing Minimalist Tiki, I knew I would write the rum book someday, so I sort of snuck in those
yeah,
chapters there. One thing I'll add really quick on wonkpress.com right now, the Minimalist Tiki we're having a special through Cyber Monday, so next Monday, where you buy the book by Minimalist Tiki, we will sign it for you, and we happen to have 2 bonus recipes that the legendary Brian Maxwell and Jason Alexander have provided to me recently. Come in a nice little recipe card, great photo recipe on the back. So sort of get 2 bonus recipes. So
nice.
there's a product code, MT signed recipes. The link should be all over Facebook, and I'm sure we can post it later.
Yep.
But yeah, the special through Monday.
All
So
right. So there you go. So I know those in the chat there. And definitely, yeah, let me thank everybody here who's in the chat there. Sean, thanks for tuning in. Philip, our my morning hang with over in the Jams and Cocktails morning show there. Phillips joins me all the time in the morning with Brad Brock, a good friend. And then Siri all the way up in Nashville. Yeah, so we're slowly getting converting rum or bourbon country, Matt. Siri is our ambassador for that in the bourbon country there. So Siri, I want to see some pictures with some tiki shirts here, things like that. Start making some of those things. And
and I love bourbon as well. Like I have a decent bourbon collection. I've been to Kentucky, written all about the warehouses there. Plenty of bourbon and tiki drinks as well. So like I love all the spirits. Just that rum is the one that's held my attention the most.
all right. So very, very cool. So I know, like I said, most of y'all have come for a specific reason for tonight. I'm sure you came from Matt. That's really, and that's definitely not for me, but for Matt. So I think we're gonna definitely kind of go through some of our normal things that we do here, because we got to move through it quick. Because I know we got some. I have ice melting, so I'm sure I think Matt does too. So we'll go through here in our What the Florida segment here. We'll read the card. If you saw that in the group the other night, I said, all right, come to the chat here and tell me, answer the question in the chat, and like, give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what the question is. So here we go. All right. So if you recognize that guy in that video, it's actually the guy from Blink 182. Actually, Blink 182 is all the original band is coming back on. Uh, they actually got the original members got back together, and again, it's all for the nostalgia, and again, they all realize they can make money, right? So all right. So what the Florida question of the week here's. All right, Matt. I'm going to ask you. You're going to play along too. Okay. Here's the question: what is the sexiest name and the least sexy name?
Sexiest name?
Yep. What is the sexiest name and the least sexy name?
Uh, yeah. For sexy, I would just say like maybe like Raquel or something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Least sexy.
Uh-oh. This could be dangerous, right?
I don't know, Hilda?
All right, let's make sure there's not a Hilda in the chat. All right, so all right, hopefully, all right, Philip, and Siri and Sean, what your questions are there? So I would love to hear the answers. Where do we post it? You can post it here, Siri. Here in the chat's fine. We'll have some good fun with it. So yeah, so I didn't give much thought about this one. I thought you were going to may say the most sexiest name there was Matt, right? Or maybe your wife's name. That would definitely score some points. So hopefully, yeah,
I
hopefully.
thought about that.
Yeah, there. All right. Well, hey, that's the thought that counts, right? So, all right. So that's our what the Florida segment. So again, if you got the question there, we'll go ahead and I'll try to pin that question we go through. But anyway, so like I said, we'll get around to our Florida Man segment in a second here, but because we definitely want to get to the cocktail portion of it here. So I went all fancy here. I try to set up and got all real complicated, so what's going to happen is the gremlins are going to get me for all the technical stuff. But we're going to give this a try here. We're going to go through this and see what we've got here. So, all right, we're going to switch to the cocktail cam. All right, well, look at that.
That
did that actually work? I'm actually shocked that. Well, I better not. Yeah, I better not tempt fate here, uh, and just bragging about it. So anyway, all right. So now that my foot fell asleep, and we're gonna try to go through this here. So, all right, Matt. So Matt's gonna walk me through. I said, hey Matt, I says, let's make a drink on the happy hour. Pick something from the book. Obviously I've got the book now, right? So as you see there, or wherever the camera is here, and he picked out one for us to make. And again, I've never heard of it. I've never obviously if I've never heard of it, I've never made it. So, but this was interesting. Tell me a little bit about this drink, the Tongan rum swizzle.
Yes, happy to. So the Tongan rum swizzle is first off, the RH is a rum RH because it has rum agricole in it. But the originator of this drink is my good friend Marie King, who is one of the legends in the tiki industry in today's tiki bartending industry. She runs the Tonga Hut. Okay, there's Tonga Room, Tonga Hut. She runs a Tonga Hut. There's actually two Tonga Huts down in Southern California. She is the head bartender, whatever, general manager. I forget her role, but she basically is Tonga Hut when it comes to the cocktails. And she graciously agreed to share some of our recipes in a book. And actually, if you flip a few pages back, you could actually show a picture of Marie if you wanted to on the cocktail
Yeah,
can. Yeah, there she is.
there you go.
Yeah, flip it around. That's there. Show you Marie. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. There's Marie, my good friend. We love Marie. So anyhow, and just a little bit briefly about the book is the idea of this book is we wanted recipes that were accessible to people that didn't use butternut, pine nut, squash, orgeat type of stuff or barrel aged banana foam. We wanted recipes that would use sort of the classic ingredients, the ingredients that Don Beachcomber and Trader Vic's used, and this recipe from Marie is like straight down the middle of that. None of these ingredients are particularly weird, unusual. You will use every one of these ingredients in many other tiki recipes. So that's why I chose it. I didn't want to use something crazy that you would have to go find. So that's the recipe. Shall we jump in and get making it?
Yeah, let's get into it because I know
Let's get okay.
I did some of my putting the ingredients together. So again, nobody wants to see me squeeze lemons, right? But I don't know. It's up to you, man. It looks like you got some full lemons
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I've got the stuff. I did a little pre-prep, but not
Okay.
all of
Okay.
it. Um, so let me jump in. So I have an actual hurricane glass
Okay.
here, and what we're going to do is we're slightly unusual or slightly different from from most tiki recipes that are over crushed ice. Is instead of building it in a shaker, shaking it, and then putting it into your ending glass, this isn't actually a build in the glass drink because it is a swizzle, and this is a swizzle stick, also known as a lele. And it's this thing. And you sometimes see tiki
Yep.
bartenders do this. Well, that's this one is still slightly oversized, but I did check, and it does go into the drink, so into the glass. So we're going to start here. Is 3 dashes of Angostura bitters.
Okay.
I love Angostura bitters. And pro tip: I buy the 16-ounce bottles. So the people who have little 4-ounce bottles, like no, like you can tell a hardcore tropical cocktail person because they're always there. They have the 16-ounce bottles and two more in this back room is spare,
All right.
which
Y'all can see now what level what level I'm at then.
it's all good. All right. So we're gonna do 3 dashes of that into the glass, 2, 3. And I can tell you that the large, the 16-ounce bottle gives you heftier dashes, which I'm okay with. Like I said, I love Angostura bitters. And no, they didn't pay me to say that. All right, get that off there. Now, I am going to squeeze the lime juice. I know you prepped it in advance, but I go for a little bit of authenticity
Yep.
here. So I'm going to squeeze the lime juice. You just watch my technique. Just a lime, regular lime, Costco lime. Cut it, and you can see that.
Yep.
And then I'm still a fan of the yield hand squeezer,
Yep.
and I have one of the OXO measuring cups. I also have ones in the metal ones as well, but my OXO measuring cups. And I want 0.75 ounces of lime juice. So I'm going to try to squeeze slowly and not spray the lime juice all over. And it's typical for these kind of limes from Costco. You get about maybe an ounce out of a typical lime. If you buy the good ones at the grocery store, you can sometimes get 2 ounces. But I'm going for 3/4 of an ounce here.
Okay.
So then I'm just good at eyeballing it. All right, so now we're at about 3/4 of an ounce. Okay, so there's our lime. And I forgot my garnish. Anyhow, so 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice goes into the glass as well.
Okay.
Now, white grapefruit juice. This is where I cheated, and the reason I cheat is because I actually managed to get white grapefruit juice. I know all of our California tiki brethren and sisters are like upset because they can't get white grapefruit, but white grapefruit juice is what was around when tiki was invented. With the country hadn't sort of migrated to the pink and ruby red grapefruit juice that we have now. And white grape juice is much more tart, much bolder. So it can be very hard to get white grapefruit juice in most parts of the country, except Florida, maybe Texas. Here in Louisiana, we happen to have a guy who I think brings them from Florida. So there's a place right by Tulane University where a guy has this truck out there, and every time you got the truck out there, we stopped, got white grapefruit. Yep, we buy 6 white grape juice and throw them in the refrigerator or throw them in a bag in the refrigerator. And I know I'm making jet pilots and all sorts of my white grapefruit drinks. So there is one slight cheat you can use, is that there is this stuff here, the ocean spray stuff in the can is actually not bad.
Okay.
If all else fails, I would almost rather use this white grapefruit in the can than using ruby red grapefruit because it has a distinctly different flavor. But now what I've done here is, because I had big white grapefruits, I have the bigger juicer. It's much faster, much more efficient. So I've juiced a good. This is the juice of one white grapefruit. That's
Oh wow.
probably 7 ounces there. And you can squeeze a white grapefruit with a big version of this, but it's a pain in the ass, and you're going to lose a lot of juice. So I happen to have done this in advance, so I'm just going to pour myself out 1 ounce here.
Okay.
Good. Okay, throw that in your glass.
Okay.
Now, half an ounce of cinnamon syrup. And did you make cinnamon syrup?
I did. So we did make cinnamon. We read the instructions in the book there. So here is, and you see in the cocktail can there, we made it. And I like the last part of the instructions. Something about the ball bag, or did I have it wrong? Or the there was some. It was like, I guess it's some netting, ball netting, or something to
Oh,
strain it
okay.
out.
Oh, yeah, for straining, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
I tend to. I mean, you do want to get all the as much sediment out as possible.
Uh-huh.
I have created a bunch of different straining techniques and straining equipment. So mine is fairly clear. Like I
Okay.
have I have like these super fine chinois strainers
Okay. Yep.
are going to get most of it out.
Okay.
Because mine is a 2-to-1 simple syrup, like I think the one in the book. Or I should forget. I should remember this. Anyhow, because mine's 2-to-1 super thick, I if I'm doing something like a juice, I'll actually run it through a coffee filter. For something thick like a syrup, it ain't gonna run through a coffee filter.
Got it.
So
Okay.
this is about as clear as I'm gonna get it.
All right. So
Anyhow,
we did a 1-to-1. So
okay,
okay. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So
Yep.
you may want to up this a little bit.
Okay.
You may want to do 3/4.
Okay.
I'm going to do 1/2 ounce of my 2-to-1. And there's actually a section in the book where I talk about 2-to-1 versus 1-to-1 syrups and how it's a problem. I think it's a problem in the cocktail recipe world. It's like there's a lot of different syrups and they have different amounts of sugar in them, and it matters like how sweet it is. And a
Right.
lot of recipes don't specify. So if it just says simple syrup all by itself, that means 1-to-1. If it's rich simple syrup, that's 2-to-1. But if it's like if a recipe for like apricot syrup or something like that, I don't know what did they use. Like it's so often those things are not specified.
Right.
So anyhow, I'm using 1/2 ounce of 2-to-1 cinnamon syrup,
Okay.
and I'm gonna let that just sit and drain while I talk. Okay, next we have pimento dram, and Paul, have you ever had pimento dram before?
I've heard about it, but I have not had it.
Okay. So pimento dram, also known as allspice dram,
Okay.
um, has the allspice berry is sort of a traditional Jamaican liqueur. Basically, you take alcohol, you put allspice berries in there, and let them infuse and pull out some of the flavors, and then you basically mix it with a syrup like sugar and water, and you get this pimento liqueur or allspice liqueur, which is also known as pimento liqueur. And there's a lot of confusion. People like they think like pimento loaf.
Mhm.
Like is it
Right.
like
Yeah.
ham with olives? Like what is this? It's like no, it's sort of like in Jamaica, pimento is the berry. So
Okay.
pimento berry, allspice berry, same thing. And in the book, I worked hard to sort of standardize, use the same name and all, call it consistently allspice dram wherever it was.
Got it.
I think that's what I did. Anyhow, have you tasted it yet, Paul?
I have not actually.
You should get, yeah,
Let me go
taste
ahead and
it. Give it a taste.
and so Matt, this part of the recipe called for a quarter of an ounce. So
Yeah.
I don't have a uh, my jigger doesn't go that low. What do you recommend? Because I'm going to tell you what I ended up doing. But what do you
Okay.
reckon? Or did you have a mixer? Or you said your OXO mixer will go to that
Yeah.
level?
So
Quarter.
yeah. So mine actually goes down to a quarter on there.
Okay. So I didn't have, like I said, to go to a quarter. I could always eyeball it with a half an
Okay, you
ounce
can
milk.
eyeball it.
But
But before you put it in, you should taste it first.
okay, so I haven't put it in yet. But what I found was
Yeah.
I did a conversion to milliliters, and we still had our little
Okay.
cups, our little kid cups of medicine. And
Yeah.
actually, actually, it was a quarter, and 50 milliliter, 25, 50, and I guess it comes out to I think 7. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah,
Like it's around 8 ml,
yeah.
7 or 8 ml. Yeah. So I can do that math in my head. But yeah, definitely taste a little sip if you need to, and then eyeball more back in if you need to. Now yours,
Mm,
well,
wow,
actually, I'm not hot. Tell me, what do you think of it?
wow. It definitely has a very warm feeling going down. It definitely
Hmm.
feels. It tastes like Christmas.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah,
And
it is basically like the Christmas decor.
yeah,
Now, what you have there, if I'm reading it, looking correctly, is Saint Elizabeth. That's sort of known within the tiki community as sort of like the most like in your face, like it's very, very, very pungent allspice. Imagine drinking an ounce of that.
ooh,
Like I could. A lot of the hardcore people tiki people will happily pour that and drink it by itself. My wife hates it. My wife hates at least that particular version. What I'm using here is the at Hamilton's the Hamilton Pimento Dram,
okay,
which is a lot more mellow. It's still a bracing, but it's not. It's not nowhere near as sort of like punchy
right.
as Saint Elizabeth. So
So let me ask you there, Matt. Is
yeah,
what I also got was a very familiar taste of. some of the larger named spiced rums.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's a spice, so I definitely got a flavor of a Captain or a Sailor Jerry with it, which is sometimes, it tastes a little too sweet. Obviously, if you're
Hmm.
putting soda in there and so forth, but that's why, yeah, I get that little bit of familiarity of this a
Yeah,
spice. So even though this is 50, this is about this one says 22 and a half ABV. So yeah, 50. That's pretty close actually to Captain. I think
yeah,
Captain's 70.
yeah. And actually, this one here is oh, well, 30% alcohol by volume.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyhow, I'm gonna put the pimento dram in there,
Okay. Okay.
and then I'm gonna rinse my hands off because it is sticky.
Yeah.
All the liqueurs always get sticky. And then we're gonna do an ounce and a half of rum agricole blanc. So this is what I have here is Lomoni from Martinique. What you have is rum Nissan from Martinique. Both are at 50% ABV, so 100 proof. Um, the rum, the RHUM, the Martinique rum, is traditionally in modern times traditionally known as being a cane juice rum. So it's rum made from cane juice rather than molasses, and so it has a much different flavor. And you've had agricole before, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So this is not an unfamiliar flavor to you.
Right.
This is like the unaged is sort of like you can think of the unaged rum agricole as sort of like the unaged tequila, the white tequila
Okay.
versus like a gold. Like we don't like I don't like to use gold and dark,
Yeah.
but like an anejo tequila.
Right.
Or anejo tequila has had some aging on it and sort of taken the sharper edges off and brought a little of the oaky notes into it. The same thing happens with agricole. The rum agricoles are often aged, and they are their own very beautiful, delicious flavor. But if you want something like as close to the material that what this rum came from, it's rum agricole or unaged
Okay.
rum agricole.
Oh,
So we're gonna pour in an
all
ounce
right.
and a half
Sounds-
of 50% ABV. I can take this out of there.
And this was a little bit hard to. I know the stores that are around here in Palm Beach County, where I live, it was. I found a lot of aged agricoles, right? The
Right,
bourbon courts, and just was really hard to find the unaged stuff. So
right. Now it's funny, like if you go to Martinique, you will find like 90% of the rum sold on the shelves of Martinique is their local rum. It's sort of like even if you go to France,
hmm,
like you go to Paris and you go looking for rum, you're going to find much more rum agricole than molasses rum.
right.
So
Okay.
yeah, like I just happen to have I don't know 50 or 60 different rum agricoles sitting in my office. So I just go, what one do I want to use?
Right.
Anyhow, an ounce and a half of this.
Okay.
And normally your tiki drinks, they're fairly strong with the alcohol. But and we're only using an ounce and a half of this. Normally you'd use two, say, in a typical drink.
Mhm.
But A, it's a little stronger proof, a little stronger strength. But B, we're also pulling in some alcohol from the pimento dram.
Gotcha.
So all good. All
All right.
right. So now, and again, this is one of the unusual drinks in that you don't build it in a shaker, shake it, and then pour into a glass. Here we're gonna do a swizzle,
Okay.
and so pro tip: put the swizzle in first before the ice, the ice in, and then try to
Okay.
jam it through
That
that.
that's
So I'm
better.
gonna throw that in there,
Okay.
and now I'm gonna cheat because I put my ice in the freezer, which is right there. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, all right, everybody. So all right. So hopefully you all enjoy this little bit of this is a little bit something new we've done here. I don't even think we've actually even done it on the podcast here. So we've got a little bit of cocktail cam going on, a little cocktail demonstration here.
Yeah,
So so hopefully everyone's also learning a little bit some things they may not have known before here. I got here, Matt, I got a comment here. Uh nice. Haven't made cinnamon syrup yet. So there you go, Sean. There's so definitely Sean's a cocktail guy too. So yeah, it
yeah.
wasn't
It's
that hard.
really not hard.
Yeah.
It's really not hard. I mean, it literally boils down to buying some cinnamon sticks, throwing them in some water, boiling them, which sort of pulls out the cinnamon flavor, and then you strain all the particles out, and then you add enough sugar to make it into a syrup. It's pretty much any syrup is easy to make. You just basically,
Yeah, I know. I think my wife got involved last night and helped me because I think she was afraid I was going to make a mess of the kitchen.
Now, I've also been known to not follow my own recipes and maybe throw in more cinnamon than called for, or maybe let it boil a little longer than called for, because I like my cinnamon to punch.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyhow, so I'm going to now fill the glass. I'm not going to fill it all the way up just yet. And this, yeah, and this is my one problem with these metal scoops is that this particular metal scoop is that it wants to hold on to the ice.
Oh, it's
Yeah, so
so about halfway or 3/4.
so we're gonna do about 3/4.
Okay.
Enough so that when we swizzle it, it's not gonna go all over the place.
Got it.
And then we're gonna top up with ice later. So
Okay.
now, go back in here. Out of the way. Nope. Oh, got my library. So now we've got like this roughly,
Hmm.
and we're gonna just literally put your lele in. And if you have a bar spoon, if you don't have a lele, you can use one of the long bar spoons. You want to froth it, and I actually dumping ice over is okay. We froth it, and then now throw a little more ice in. If Marie would probably laugh if she watched me doing this, but she's a professional and I'm not. Um, yeah, so a little bit more. But the
All
idea
right.
is you want to get it all the way up to at some point the, you know, yeah,
So
where
this motion, Matt, that we're doing here is obviously a reason because I guess I've never I'm learning because I've seen the bartenders do it. Um, but I
yeah,
guess it's
you're bringing a little bit more air in. You're diluting differently. It's sort of like it's funny if you take a drink and you take a drink with the ingredients and you put them side by side, one shaken, one swizzled, you can tell the difference.
mm,
And it especially matters to something like pineapple juice in particular. Like
uh,
pineapple juice loves to froth up and get a foam, and the swizzle is one way to get that foam. So, all right. So yeah, so I'm just going to top it up with ice here,
okay.
or a little bit more ice here. And I was lame and didn't get my mint sprig, but I'm going to cheat and
Do we just place it in or on the side or I guess we'll wait.
yeah.
So
Yes. So for you, you can just basically put this mint sprig in. I am going to cheat and grab an umbrella.
oh, okay.
Plenty of those. All right. Oop, grab an umbrella. All right. I have the little hold on, stop. Okay.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah,
Let's see.
the old cocktail umbrella. And it took me forever to learn this. When people buy these cocktail umbrellas,
Right.
the little tiny band, you
Yep.
probably can't see it there, but it's a little tiny, oop, I've managed, oh,
Yep.
there it is. There's a little tiny band right around the bottom, and that's not there for you to pull off, it's there for you to like hold it in place. So if you want it a little bit open, all the way open, or if
Oh,
you want to
okay.
make it a hurricane,
Yeah, there we go.
there you go. Even like that. And then last but not least, your straw. We're not killing any turtles.
Oh, okay.
We have a metal straw. So
There we
there
go.
we go. Here we have our Tongan rum swizzle.
There we go. All right. Cheers, Matt. Thank you.
Here.
All right. Yes. Let's give this a try. Yeah, the the complimentaries there of I've started as you mentioned about the asked me about the agricoles. I've really started like, wow, it is something that I'm not, something new, again, still new to most people, as I believe, are mostly familiar with molasses based
Mm-hmm.
rums, and the agricoles can kind of blow their mind if,
Yeah.
again, ease them into it. But it's like such a flavor. And then, yeah, I get the pimento, right? It,
Mm-hmm.
it brings in a little bit of, and it's not too sweet, but then it's that tart. I think yeah, like you said, it's like everything gives a good balance between you get a little tart, you get a little sweet. The agricole, the rum there is giving you those flavors that's just coming naturally from the rum. I think when I poured it in, which one was it? I can't remember now which one, but it was. I did smell like a little bit of banana on on the nose on that
Mhm.
agricole. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a classic. I'm not going to say this recipe is a classic recipe, but it certainly could have been
mm,
in that um, most tiki recipes, and we're not counting for these oddball things like pina coladas, which I love, but they're not, you know, putting aside the weird drinks. Most tiki recipes are, what we call the holy trinity: rum, lime, sugar. Uh, Daiquiri, tea punch, same idea, different rum, but same idea, rum, lime, sugar. But what differentiates a tropical cocktail like a daiquiri from a tiki drink is that sort of tiki drinks turn it up to 11,
mm,
and they bring in other spices and exotic juices and spices and flavors that you wouldn't get in a sort of a more modest sedate tropical drink.
right.
And so pimento dram is that sort of spicy flavor, and cinnamon's a spicy flavor, and NH agricole is a very interesting flavor. Fun fact: there's a lot of old tiki recipes that talk about using Martinique rum, the call for Martinique rum,
Hmm.
like the 1944 Mai Tai, but I've done research and and I was not the first to realize this, but I've done a whole bunch more research and sort of further proven it that the Martinique rums in these classic tiki recipes were more like a Jamaican rum made from molasses rather than made from cane juice.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's only been since essentially the mid 1960s that cane juice sort of overtook molasses rums on Martinique. And so today, we go to Martinique rum. When you say Martinique rum today, we of course think cane juice rum, rum agricole. But if you were to go back to 1945 or 1950 and say Martinique rum, um, outside of Martinique, it would have been a molasses rum. And we have records of for example, Trader Vic talking about how it's like a dark rum, somewhat like a Jamaican rum, which is not at all what rum agricole tastes like.
Somewhat like Jamaican rum. So that means it wasn't a Jamaican rum, but yeah. So,
Hmm?
all right, yeah. No, it's man, thanks for, I mean, again, to walk through and to explain and talk a little bit of history. Again, I think a lot of people, of course, there's the folks from Martinique calling right now. I've got who's calling me at 8:30 at night. Um, so let me turn. Hold on. Of all the times that the phone actually rings, I've been here all all evening in the call. Yes, I'm still one that has a landline. Yes, we still kind of go old school about it. So, but yeah, no, I think it's great. I appreciate kind of explain a little bit here. I'm gonna let the missus here give it a try again. She's still a little definitely, as I always refer to it, is like that dip in the toe into the rum pool, is for those that are kind of coming in. She's giving it a try. She's not quite sure. She's trying to figure out all the the what's in it there. It's got a little bit of what do you taste? We're gonna see here. She tastes first thing she says, Matt. She says she
Well,
tastes the funk.
hmm
Yeah.
so there, I mean, I would say like some people, like if you haven't been around rum people for a long time, and they haven't had a lot of experience with flavors and other people talking about those flavors, absolutely, rum agricole is funky.
Yeah. Right.
We,
Yeah.
as a rum lover, is like we know that term, like, oh, that's when we say funk, we mean like the weird Jamaican banana thing. But rum
Mhm.
agricole to an outsider is like you could very well call that funky.
Right. So why? So real quick, talking again about why it was a unaged versus an aged agricole. Was it just to make sure it's kind of like Daiquiri you talked about? It was a very base. Nothing's going to impact the taste and the flavors, where you're letting all the other ingredients kind of do that, right?
I think I think what you would find in a lot of tiki cocktails, especially ones that are based upon like 2 ounces of Puerto Rican rum, and I love Puerto Rican rum, but it's really easy for a rum to get lost in some of these recipes.
Mm,
So, and you've got cinnamon and pimento, banana, and all this other stuff. It can be kind of hard if you're sort of a modest rum. You may be lovely to drink by yourself, but in a tiki cocktail, you have some heavyweights competing for your taste buds here.
Right.
And rum agricole is one of those rums, like Jamaican rums, which are like punched through, and like you're not going to ignore it.
Yeah, no, it was. Did you saw my post in the Florida Rum Society group about my experience with going to a bar the other night and it had on the recipe RHUM.
I saw that.
Yeah, I was very disappointed.
Yeah, yeah, and that the thing about that is there are people who think, um, you know, reasonably think that RHUM rum means um, means cane juice rum, but it doesn't. It's just like it's just rum in a different language,
Mhm.
in the same way that Ron is rum in another language.
Right.
And it's like, no, there was no dude named Ron Bacardi.
Yeah.
And no dude named Ron Barlito. Like Ron is like Ron, rum, rum.
Right.
They're all just the same, and they mean something made from sugarcane.
Yep. All right. Very amazing. So, all right. So I appreciate it, Matt. So yeah. So like I said, a lot of folks here, a lot of folks here in the chat are saying, yeah, it looks amazing there. Somebody said no, just say no to math when we were trying to do our conversion there. So
I,
it's too, yeah,
I just do it in my head.
yeah,
Because my degree was in physics, so I can do it like that. So
there, yeah. And all right, that looks amazing, looks great. And even Charlene said it was. She said she wasn't bad. So it wasn't bad. Again, it was pretty good. So it's a definitely one that you want. Yeah, she did take it away from me for a second there. So
there you go.
yep. So all right, no, I appreciate that. So I think we'll get into our segment here. I know a lot of folks are probably dying to get into the bingo mode here, but we got a few other things here we're gonna do first.
They were
Uh,
probably dying for me to get through the recipe and drink first. But
so did anybody at home, and a lot of people love the bar cam. This is a new feature here. So actually we're seeing I feel like I'm on the cooking network or something like that here. Multiple
no,
cameras and
you need an overhead one now.
yes, I need yeah. I was already hitting the fan earlier with my ring light, so I was like, maybe I should turn the fan off before I try to lift things up in the air. But yeah, that might be next. We need to upgrade there. So all right, so we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of shifting gears here. We'll try to do a little cleanup here. I'll let Charlene have the rest of that because it's not like I don't have plenty of other stuff. All right, so let's switch on back here. We'll go back to our all right,
Normal.
let's just get back into
For
our
yelling
normal here.
bingo after they arrest an elderly.
Hold on, we get ahead. I'm gonna do a little intro here. So I got my little issue there with my there we go. Okay. I think we fixed our so yeah, so we're gonna go into our one of again our weekly segments that we have here is our Florida Man segment. Again, there's always a story. And because we're doing bingo tonight with some fabulous prizes, I went ahead and found a bingo Florida Man story. And this is actually kind of crazy. This was a few years ago. And for those of you who probably are familiar or probably that are no bingo, bingo can be like crazy. The people that go there are very competitive. Actually, I think the last time we played bingo uh, a couple months ago, it was seemed to start getting pretty competitive even in the chat. So let's get right into it. Here's our Florida Man segment here about
For yelling bingo after they arrest an
bingo
elderly
hall.
Florida man for slashing a woman's tires, and you won't believe why. Surveillance video shows the 82-year-old man using an ice pick to puncture two tires in a parking lot in Lake Wales. The car belongs to an 88-year-old woman. Police say the man was mad because the woman took his seat at their weekly bingo game. Fred Smith has been ordered to pay back the woman for the tires. He was charged with criminal for yelling bingo.
So our Florida man here, Mr. Fred. So again, Mr. Fred is this is a few years ago. So he at the time he was 82 in the Lake Wales, I think is somewhere up in the middle of the state there. And again, it just people are so like very territorial about bingo and certain techniques and don't upset people and it's kind of crazy. So Fred Smith was charged with criminal mischief last Monday again when this happened Police say he took an ice pick, 88-year-old Ethel Britt's van during a weekly bingo game at Lake Ashton Retirement Community Clubhouse. Police say Smith stormed out of the bingo hall and punctured two of Britt's tires because she was sitting in the chair he usually sits in. Smith was caught on surveillance video in the act. Lake Wales Deputy Troy Scholze Smith said Smith, that's a coincidence, says Smith admitted to the crime and expressed regret. Smith's faces having to pay the $500 tire damage and restitution back to Britt. So again, this is 2015. So I guess even, I don't know, cameras there, security cameras before really ring cameras really kind of started to come out. But yeah, man, it can get very. I found another story there, may not have been appropriate, about a guy exposing himself in a bingo hall. Two women actually had a heart attack. They keeled over, and I think it was.
Hold on, from being exposed.
He kind of showed his manlyhood there, and I guess.
And then two women had a heart attack.
Yes, that's apparently what the story
Okay.
said. So
I love it. Okay.
I guess it was a prank gone wrong. So I just don't know. I don't know. When you get older, I don't know why people kind of do this thing. All right, so we'll get back into our seat here. All right, so Fred Smith there. Here's to you, our Florida Man of the Week. He's slashing tires, going all gangsta at the bingo hall in the retirement community. Cheers, Fred. Good thing that's all you. Yes, good thing that's the only thing you did there. So, all right. So what do we got here? A couple people say, "I almost pulled someone's hair over that bingo." Oh man, get a little kind of. Like I said, it kind of get a little crazy here. Yep, not playing that. LOL, LOL. I'd be proud. So, all right. So we've all come to the part of the show here. Or hold on here. Philip says, or maybe a heart attack from lack of oxygen dying laughing. I guess that's possible too. I'm surprised the person that exposed himself didn't actually, I don't know. Like I said, these retirement communities, they get a little bit of Viagra and they think they're like superheroes or something. All right.
I just want to add that while you were talking,
yep.
I basically eyeballed myself a second drink, just poured and so I'm on my second one now.
I better hurry it up, man. I didn't realize this is going to be a drinking show now, especially with 100 proof rum here. So
there you go. I mean, it's always fun, the second time, it's not worth measuring. I'm just I can get close.
Yeah. That's exactly how I bartend. Not professional in any locations by any nature, but I always find it fun, Matt, to try different things. I'm always, whenever we have a party, trying different cocktails, or say, hey, I'll mix this with this, try this. And especially now that when we have our what we call our Friends Myths, that now I'll be able to bust out this book and then try some tiki drinks on some of our friends and give it a try there. So we'll,
yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. Absolutely try some of the ones from Jason Alexander.
Okay. Yeah, my wife said no more juice box cocktails, because we all had kids at the time and when they were little, and we said that's the only thing we had laying around was all the Capri Sun juice packets, and we just said, well, we'll just mix that with something, and then there you go, you got juice box cocktails.
Speaking of a fun story there, so on Martinique, there's this thing that the bartenders call bagricole, where you've had boxed wine, it's kind of like a juice box.
Right.
Martinique, they sell 2, 3, 4, 5 liters of rum in a bagricole box.
Holy! I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna add to that, Matt. So I found this obviously on the clearance table here at our local ABC, and I said, all right, I'm gonna have to grab this. I'm gonna have to try it, and I'm gonna have to give a review. So as you said, right, everyone looks down upon those that drink wine out of a box. But look, we've all been there. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and and so forth. And what we found at the ABC store here I live at is this thing right here.
I can't quite make it out.
So this is Drake's organic boxtails. Craft cocktails on tap. It's minted mojito. It's a 12% ABV.
Okay.
All right, so this is a push, pull, pour. So again, just add ice, it says. It can make equal to 2.5 750 milliliter bottles.
Okay.
It says no artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners, so that's going to be interesting to prove out, right? I think we're all going to call probably
Yeah, I'm
bullshit on
doubting
this.
that, but yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Okay, go on.
it was new. It was new, and but it was already on the like I said the
On clearance rack?
clearance table here. So hold on. Are you want to look at it? Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So hold on. Charlene's looking at it. So we're gonna take
That's
here.
it reminds me of like at Costco. They had like margaritas by the bucket
Yeah,
with like plastic bucket. Pour a bottle of tequila in. There you go.
that's it. Just add water, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, so there is actually so I haven't had even cracked it open yet. So well, hopefully it's no not now. So hopefully it's yeah it's I don't get sick from it if it's fermented. But yeah, real quick, I did have a question there. So yeah, can you just talk, Matt, a little bit about? I said we made our oh, hold on, where am I at? What camera? We made our cinnamon syrup, and you
Hmm.
know the importance of that you mentioned in the book there about uh the oh I gotta switch my camera here. Let me go back to our there we go. Why to put alcohol in this or any of the
So
syrups?
there's actually some debate now about whether it makes a difference or not. Conceptually, a little alcohol will help kill the bacteria. The people who say it doesn't work are like, well, you know, a half an ounce of Everclear or whatever will get you to 5% ABV at most. You know, you're not going to kill anything with that. Um, I think what's more important, and sort of what I've been practicing, is essentially sterilizing your jars or your bottles, whatever. You can do that with either steam. So what I will do is, for example, when I squeeze this, when I squeeze this, I first thing I did, I washed it out, left a little water in it, threw it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and let the steam basically, you know, kill whatever bacteria, whatever's there. Another approach, and sometimes what I do with bottles that I can't microwave or whatever, is I will actually take Everclear and throw that in the bottle. And you know, Everclear's 190 or 150 proof, depending on where you live. But throw that in there, close it, slosh it a little bit, let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. Something I've learned from Tiki Lindy, whose
Hmm,
recipes are also in the book. Basically, let the alcohol essentially sanitize the bottle. So
okay.
the trick is if you have a juice or a syrup and you don't want it to start, you know, getting scum or whatever, you know, bad things happen after a week, the fastest and most efficient thing you can do is to sanitize the bottle first,
Hmm.
sanitize the bottle jar, whatever. So, but the alcohol in the syrup is one thought of like, well, the alcohol will kill the germs, but you need enough to actually kill the germs. And
Hmm.
at that point, you're making a liqueur, not a
Right.
syrup.
Right. So I was almost following you there. I was thinking that so am I supposed to put vodka as soon as we buy a thing of orange juice just to kind of keep the orange juice longer in the fridge?
So believe it or not, so what I found interestingly is, like for example, I squeeze my own pineapple juice, and it lasts much longer and tastes much better, you know, 3, 4, 5 days out if I super strain it and like it's the it's actually from my perspective, it's the super fine solid particles that remain behind that are the ones that sort of go weird and actually give it a sort of like bitter grassy taste.
Mm.
So I know I'm way digressing here, but for example, when I squeeze my pineapple juice, I filter it as much as possible. But if you then put it in the refrigerator and let it sit for 24 hours, you will see that basically all the sediment will fall. Even though you filtered it in the coffee filter, there's still little
A little
tiny
bit.
bits of particles in there, and they will fall to the bottom. And you can basically decant that.
Mm.
You basically take off, you know, slowly pour, leave the stuff that's at the bottom, which is where all the particles will settle to. And if you taste those side by side, if you taste the juice that came off the top versus what was on the bottom, you'll see it. Like there's a noticeable difference, and it's like that what's in the bottom is more bitter, more grassy. So if you get all that out, it can actually make, from my perspective and my experience, make the juice last longer and taste more vibrant. So
Okay. That's some good tips there. Again,
I know I've digressed terribly from the question, but
no, that's well. Hey, like I said, if you've got all that grapefruit juice and other juice that you keep around, you gotta if you're buying it in volume to make a lot of the cocktails, you've gotta hopefully obviously you're making a lot of cocktails throughout the week and the months,
all the
or
time. Like every day is cocktail day here.
oh wow, there we go. Every day is cocktail day. I like that. That should be like a shirt or something there. So all right, so let's see what we got here. So after
It's
Sean,
funny because my people are like, seasonal cocktails. Like, no, it's always tiki. Like, I don't care. If I
right,
could live in Minnesota, I don't care.
right.
I'm making tiki cocktails in the dead of winter because I like them.
It's like they say, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Something to
Mhm.
that extent there. So Sean says, after I wash my syrup bottles, I put a little vodka and coat the bottle before I put it in. I put new in. Okay.
Yeah, and
Um,
I and again, this is what Tiki Lindy, who's again in the book, actual pharmacist, I asked her about this at Tiki Oasis, and she said for the alcohol to effectively kill whatever might be in there, it needs to be 5-10 minutes or something like that. It's not going to be like 5 seconds and it's dead. It's like it actually needs a little longer to kill stuff.
right. Okay. Good tips then. Okay. So, all right. So let's see here. All right. Well, I think we're at that point here for those that are in the chat who are getting ready to play here. We're going to go ahead and post in the link here. Let me go ahead and get the link here. Invite players. Hold on, let me start here. Let me grab this link, and let's make sure. I know we had a little bit of some issues last time, so all right. So there's the link there, folks. Hopefully it goes through. Okay, so there's the link in the chat there. Please let me know when you are ready and you have a card. We'll just go ahead and start playing bingo. And again, this is Tiki Bingo. So, all right. So let me know again once you get your card. Please confirm, and we'll go ahead and start here once we've got everyone who's getting ready to go here. Anyone else? Yes. Siri. Mike Mike Dvorak messaged me. He said he's traveling, with the holidays, and obviously he's with his job and so forth. So he did let me know he was going to miss tonight. He probably has this book actually. He's always posting in the Florida Rum Society. He's always posting his cocktail.
We love you for that.
Yeah. So all right. So Philip says he's ready. Okay. So all right. So all right. Charlene says kicking her out. So all right. So I know Sean, Siri. Who else is in there too? So yeah. So I think definitely. I like I said, Matt. It's a beautiful looking book here. Again, it's an actual. Again, we're from that time. We're from that era, right? Of actually books, right? And I know everything's gone digital or whatnot, but I definitely you know, it's a very beautiful book here. The pictures that go with it. Like I said, there's some things I was surprised that I was saw in the book here. Again, great explanation as you mentioned there, talking tiki versus tropical, right? I would have assumed also daiquiris, the OG daiquiris would be considered in that classification, uh, but as you're saying, it's not, and like you just mentioned there a little bit ago too, so it was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of love in the community for all the different recipes and different styles, and this is the book is my attempt to explain my understanding of it and how I think about things, and hopefully bring more people into the fold. So, and also, the primary reason the book is so beautiful is because of my beautiful wife, Carrie, name I didn't pick, but my beautiful wife Carrie, who made it like that, and who over the course of 6 months made modern Caribbean rum. Imagine putting together 850 pages with photos and everything, My wife Carrie, the co-author, deserves all the credit for that, and also for Minimalist Tiki. So
nice. So, all right. So, all right. So, Siri, are you playing? Sean, you playing here? Because right now, I've only got Philip, and
all I
we'll.
have is a Zoom link, so I can't play.
So here, I'll send it to you, Matt, and see if I can get it to you. What do you have open if you want to play? Yeah. If you win, do you get to keep your own book? How does
I don't. We want people. We want other people. I have plenty of my books.
All right. So Siri says she's ready. Okay. Okay. So Charlene's having some technical issues on hers. Sean, are you there? Come on, guys. Getting past my bedtime here. Matt's making me drink 100 proof rum.
Well, you can go higher. We can do 75% ABV tea polish next. If it's
All right. So looks like all right. So it looks like everyone says they're good to go here. So all right. So you guys are in luck. It's actually your odds are really high here. So all right. So we're gonna go through this. We're going to go. Okay. Let's get this started here. Let me flip my screen now to our bingo. All right. So hopefully you all can see what we got here. Let me just do a little again. Some of my screen stuff. I got to clean up a little bit here. And all right, something to that effect there. We'll go through our screens there. So all right, so here we go. I'm gonna watch in the chats here, and we're gonna go ahead and play our bingo. So here we go. Everyone's got a tiki card. It's called Tiki Bingo, and here we go. And these are all slots like we did last time for the Ringo Bingo, where it is references to Ringo Starr. Again, this is not numbers. This is actually the tiki cocktails that's listed in the book here as part of the classic cocktails that Matt's talked about. So here we go. Start the game. All right. First one is Bolo. Bolo. Okay. Please turn the cams. I'm not sure what tiki or Siri what you got there. Please turn up the sound. You're quiet all of a sudden.
to me.
Okay. No, Siri. No, I think you're. All right. How's the sound for everybody else? All right. So others are telling me I'm fine. Okay. Well, hopefully you can see the screen at least. So first one is Bolo. You only live once, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here we go. Next one here is number 2, Cobra's Fang. Not to be confused with Cobra Kai, but Cobra's Fang. We should do a line, right? Should we do a line? Yeah, not that kind of line. Yeah, I think a line. As long as
wondering.
Yeah. All right, so Cobra's Fang is number 2. So here we go. Number 3, Donga Punch. That is an interesting name. So we're
a good use of your white grapefruit, by the way. Actually, the Donga Punch is another one of those classic recipes, which is grapefruit and cinnamon. So yeah, it's actually very simple. You can kind of think of it as a grapefruit cinnamon daiquiri, basically.
Okay. So since we have all this extra
I
ingredient,
don't actually know why they came up with the name, but
okay. All right.
That's a Jeff Berry question.
All right. So I'll have to. I haven't met Jeff, and everyone's the same thing. Is like there are a lot of people like, oh, you should have him on talk. I say, yeah, I'd love to. I definitely will go in try to do as much homework as I can. You know, like as you know, Matt is, but at the same time, be very inquisitive. You know, and curious on trying to learn. Like so, I always say, I try to learn. I'm learning with the listeners, right? So that's how it should be. The guest should be the one having all the questions. Number 4, Lakey Kane. Did I say it right?
Locky Kane, yes.
All right, Locky Kane. Okay.
One of my favorite bars in London.
All right. All right. So number 4.
Gorgi Radev.
Now remember, folks, if you want to make these cocktails, these are all in the book. So definitely, you can win in one tonight. That's great. If you don't, pick it up, right? And and we'll have Matt come back around to it about the shameless plugs here at the end here. All right, so next one here, number 5 is the Mai Tai. Yeah, that's probably one that everyone probably is familiar with as far as the tiki drink, right? So, yeah, I used to work in a Chinese restaurant, Matt, and oop, I'm looking at the wrong page there. and those are some of the drinks that were always on the cocktail that had either in the planter's punch or the big bowls, the flaming, the scorpion bowl, or the Mai Tai. It always seemed like there was always and again, I had no idea anything about any of that stuff when I was making those drinks at this restaurant. And again, I didn't go to school for bartending, but it was all just learn on the job. Number 6, Dr. Funk. All right, Dr. Funk. All right. So far, nobody's called out bingo yet, and what we'll do is we'll have to definitely verify that card anyway. Okay. All right. Number 7, Navy Strength.
Yes.
All right. So there you go. So I would assume I don't remember that one. Matt, is that I guess in particular about the strength of the rum in this cocktail?
So I don't. So my recollection is and you got to remember I've been making my own cocktails, but my recollection is one of the cocktails from Navy Strength in Seattle. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but yeah, Navy Strength is a bar in Seattle. My good friends who opened that. It also refers to the issuing strength of Royal Navy rum.
Okay.
That when they basically sent rum out with ships to give away as a daily ration, it was issued at Navy Strength, which was 54.5% ABV.
Okay. 54. So we're looking at 108 at least, right? So
109, yeah.
109. Okay.
Technically 54.5, but yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. All right. So nobody's got it yet. Nobody's called yet. So, all right. So number 8, Jet Pilot. You already made reference to the Jet Pilot. So
another great use of your white grapefruit.
Yep.
And it's also white grapefruit and cinnamon. Are you noticing the theme here?
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, it's like the Reese's peanut butter cups, 2 great tastes that go great together.
Hey Matt, is there any apps like, I know there's all sorts of bartending apps, but I wonder if there's like, a version of for tiki, right? Whatever you got, and you kind of have these ingredients and these ingredients.
Yeah. Great question. There's a bunch of them.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to play any favorites here, but I know that Jeff Berry's Total Tiki app, which apparently now is online as well. So it was an iPhone only app. It still is an iPhone only app, but also now there's a web version. And additionally, Grogalizer. So Tim Glasner, who did the Mai Tai book, Grogalizer, tell what you got, put your bar in there, tell you what drinks you can make. So yeah, there's a few out there, but those are the 2 that come to mind.
Okay. All right. So we do have a question before we go to the next one here. Is Siri's asking, is grapefruit and cinnamon a common thing?
Is grapefruit and cinnamon what?
A common thing, I guess, in making the tikis.
Yes, it's one of those canonical flavor combinations that you see over and over and over again in tiki drinks, and I'm a huge fan of it. And like I said, ruby red and cinnamon are good, but white grapefruit and cinnamon is fire.
Yeah, and I think we had visited Annie Blake down at the Delray Beach. She is co-owner of they just recently reopened it as the Falcon. And it was Death Before Glory. You may have heard of that name, right? And she was trying to get me.
Or Death and Glory. I know of Death and Glory.
It might be Death and Glory. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, she was trying to talk me into coming to cocktails, Tales of the Cocktail about that time, and I was like, oh man, I can't take that much time off. And I'm like, all right, maybe next year. That'll be the plan to come out to Louisiana, New Orleans area to come to cocktails.
Come on over.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm like, I'm hearing it's like the thing. It isn't just rum, but it's like all
the things. Yes.
Yeah.
Come on over. We're here.
There you go. All right. So there you go. So
also, by the way, grapefruit and cinnamon, but also grapefruit and Campari are also fabulous flavor combo.
Okay. And she mentioned that she doesn't like it. What was it she talked about? Charlene was something about like making it with orange juice, but she said there was something that she was more of a taking a making a riff on drinks, but using white. Yeah, we're using white grapefruit. I think it was she made reference, very similar reference, I think, Matt, to that. So, all right, question or number 9 here, painkiller. All right, the painkiller. So, um, that one, yeah, that one's a famous from the Soggy Dollar bar, right?
Yes, Soggy Dollar Bar. It's one of those that shouldn't actually be canonical tiki in that, well, A, it was invented or written down later, but also B, does not have a sour component. It's not a rum lime sugar. So basically, painkiller is pina colada with orange juice.
Right, and a little nutmeg, right?
Yes, fair point. I always forget the nutmeg. But I was very lucky. I got to interview Charles Tobias, who obtained the painkiller recipe and or invented it from the owner of Daphne Henderson of Soggy Dollar Bar.
That alone, the people that haven't heard, we're definitely gonna have to cover some of these because I think it's a fascinating story behind this drink that everyone knows. I mean, just as much as like the dark and stormy, right? There's all these drinks that are out there
Yeah,
that are trademarked, and there's a whole crazy
yeah.
story behind it. And
So read my interview with Charles Tobias where he talks about it. So
okay,
Charles is a character and he's still alive, and he will tell a story about swimming on his back with a painkiller from the bar and bringing it back to his boat, or he then had it on the boat and then reverse engineered it on his boat.
oh, okay.
Daphne would not give it to him.
So he figured it out, or got, I guess, got it close enough, or yeah. All right, so Siri says, blow away. Thanks for the knowledge. Okay, or blown away. I think that's what she probably said. Blown away. I think that's what I'll take it as. All right, so number 10, Roomba. Of course, any cocktail with the name
Rumba? Rumba.
Roomba. What did I say? Oh, I'm not talking about the vacuum cleaner. I guess.
Rumba. One of my top 3 favorite bars in the world
Okay.
in Seattle, and it's where we grew up together. Rumba built their rum collection as I built my rum collection.
Okay. So it's all about the
And
same.
Rumba is featured in the book.
All right. Has anybody got it yet? Are we there yet? All right. Number 11, El Diablo.
Diablo. There's your tequila tiki drink.
Oh, okay. There, like I said again, I learned something new. Is that I thought all tiki drinks were going to be a rum-based thing.
Yeah, so tiki drinks are it's not rum lime sugar and spice, but it could be spirit sugar spice and spirit sugar sugar something. Yeah. But yeah, there are Scotch tiki drinks, bourbon tiki drinks, pisco tiki drinks. Even there's a pisco. There's a drink there's a recipe in minimalist tiki that uses pisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to. I can't wait to flip through some. I mean, some of the ingredients I'm a little bit again, I haven't delved too far into the tiki world, but
we're going to pull you in.
Yeah, so it's like I said, I'm in the shallow end and I'm going out to the deep end, as I say, right? And I'm trying to bring people with us, right? I'll start off slow.
We're referring you to your tiki.
Yes. Come to Beavis, or
yeah.
For those of you who remember the Beavis and Butthead references. All right. Anyway. All right. Number 12, the Navy Grog. Yeah. There's another one that a lot of people.
Another one with the white grapefruit. A classic, fantastic drink.
All right, so there we go. Right, so that was there's another one with a great story behind that drink, right?
Yes, I've written books about this topic. Yep. Not about this drink, but about the topic of Navy Grog.
All right, Siri says she's 1 away. Uh-oh.
Right.
Uh-oh. Oh, and Charlene's also. Yeah, but she's not. Yeah, Charlene gets disqualified because she's she's sleeping with the person running the contest.
And also has access to the book.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you already have your own book. I'll share it with you. Just give me your library card. All right, so let's see if where we got next here. Next one up is number 13, the zombie.
Yes.
All right, yeah, that's another classic one that everyone's always talking about. So, and I think and talk about there, Matt, is the importance of the proper glassware with some of these drinks, right?
It is important, and actually, again, one of the topics or themes of minimalist tiki is that yes, you can go bananas. You can have all the crazy stuff. You could be Smuggler's Cove or Latitude 29. The reality is that if you have a core set of ingredients, a core set of rums, a core set of glassware, you can do most of the classic tiki drinks in a perfectly lovely way. So you don't need to have every specific rum, every specific glass. Most of the time, you can use a particular, one of three or four different types of glassware and have a pretty good recreation of that drink.
Right. Yeah. So and I'll talk here in a minute. I want to make sure I give them a plug and shout out the podcast we just dropped today with our guests. But yeah, they talked a little bit about Sean and Shamus. But when you're having whether it's rum or cocktails in general, it's always a little bit of sense of, it could always take you to a place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of these things as you mentioned there. So all right. Oh, Sean is also one away too. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Man, this is where it's going to get a little crazy between Sean and Siri here. So we're down to the wire. Okay. All right, number 14. The Bali Bali.
Bali. That's an obscure one.
All right, I'm going to wait here for a second. Let's see if we've got anybody calling bingo just yet. I know there's a little delay, but yeah, like I said, some of them have ring a bell that I've heard of before. Like I said, the Navy Grog, the Mai Tai,
Right.
And yeah, it's always some
Yeah.
interesting stories there. So, all right.
Yeah. And the reality is that all of these drinks were, they're supposed to be classic tiki recipes, but at the end of the day, they were my decision of like, these are the ones that I've had, these are the ones that I know, and I ran them by some other tiki people. But somebody else, if you said find 30 classic tiki recipes, they might have come up with a different list.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on because I haven't seen anybody pipe into the comments here yet. So all right. All right. Next up, 15, Lost Lake.
There you go.
All right. Like I said, these are some interesting ones that I have.
R.I.P. Fantastic Chicago bar.
So that's the one I've heard of in Chicago or know of, and again, it's probably the biggest. I'm assuming one of the big names is 3 Dots and a Dash, right?
Yeah, and Paul McGee, who one of the owners of Lost Lake, was formerly the beverage director of 3 Dots and a Dash. So Lost Lake was more of a super cool neighborhood bar that just also happened to make world-class tiki drinks. Whereas 3 Dots is a much bigger thing. It's part of a consortium of restaurants and so forth. So
okay, yeah, I guess I forgot to mention it. It's not all just cocktails, tiki cocktails, but it's actually it's tiki bars also in this list here.
I was wondering, but yes, like, I thought Lucky King may have been the cocktail, but at some point I'm like, these are just bar names.
Yeah, I had to fill it in, so it wasn't all. This is actually it was a 5x5 card. So all right, so let's see. Siri, she says, I want a history of cinnamon and lime. Well, Siri, as you know, as we talked, Matt has his Wonk Press. So again, I'm sure there's a great opportunity for if you want to write a book with him or something. There you go.
Now I'm thinking about that.
All right, make sure you get some credit, Siri. All right, next up here, number 16. Here we go. The Hurricane. Okay.
There we go.
Now this one was this one also kind of a little bit on the questionable, just like the Painkiller, the Hurricane.
So it's it's sort of like some people are. I mean, some would say like it predated tiki by a couple of years. From my perspective, it's lime rum or not lime, lemon rum and fashionola or passionola, depending on how old school. Like I said, it has citrus, it has sweet, it has exotic sweet in the form of fashionola, and it has rum. But as the story goes, it was invented as a way to dump 4 ounces of rum at a time because everybody wanted whiskey, and the distributors at the time required you the distributors at the time had lots of rum, like they needed to get off their hands, and whiskey was scarce because prohibition had just ended, and so they would, as the story goes, they would tell bartenders or bar owners, if you want, you want a bottle of rum or you want a bottle of whiskey, one of our bourbons or whatever, you got to buy 4 bottles of rum. So the bars were in a hurry to go through a lot of rum, and the hurricane. Well, as the story goes, the hurricane was a way to do that. Whether that's true or not, I haven't verified.
Right. And again, it was like probably some of the worst rum, and they just threw a bunch of shit in it together, kind of like,
I mean, it was certainly, yeah. I mean, at that time, it would have been a lot of Virgin Island rum, for example. I mean, depends whose rum recipe you use, but
right.
but yeah, I know there was a lot of inexpensive American-made rum with very little age at the time. So
Right. Interesting. So yeah, it's unfortunate. The same tactics happen today, right? The distributors say, "Hey, if you want this bottle of Blanton's, you got to buy all this Fireball," right? So it's kind of crazy. It's some of that still existed, but
yeah.
All right. Oh, well, Siri's getting creative here. She's just posted rum and cinnamon. So
I mean, rum and cinnamon. I mean,
Yeah.
cinnamon is a
Yeah.
almost standard ingredient in a lot of the spiced rums.
All right. So are you going to make cinnamon rolls, Siri? Is that what we're getting at here? Can we make some rum cinnamon rolls? Anyway, all right, let's get on to 17. All right. So, all right, the test pilot. Oh, okay. So we've got a jet pilot and a test pilot. Man, what's the difference between the two?
The name.
Okay. All right. That was easy.
No, I know. No, I mean, there's some reasonable difference. I just forget the recipes off the top of my head. The jet pilot is kind of a it's kind of a what's it called? Not a hurricane. I'm drawing a blank, but the jet pilot is kind of a toned down version of one of the other classic tiki drinks. Jet pilot's a little more high octane. Oh, I think it's a zombie. I think the jet pilot is sort of like a slightly tamed down zombie. There was a test pilot, by my recollection, was a little earlier and also a little lighter on the rum.
Okay. Well, Matt, we did have somebody call bingo, so let's see what we got here. All right, so we do have. What do I got?
Bingo?
Do I have a bingo?
I don't know.
Oh, test. Yep, test pilot. So we got a Mai Tai.
Oh, okay. I was looking diagonally. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so we do have a row. Yep. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, all right then. I guess. All right then. Congrats to Philip there. All right. Yeah. So. All right. So. I'll see. There goes everyone's getting a little kind of funny. It's all having good fun here. I said the bingo stuff can get really competitive here. So all right, so congrats to Philip there for scoring the book here. And Matt, I know the ones that you have for your the Cyber Monday coming out there is you said you got a couple different recipe cards that are included in there. Do you also have you're also autographing and signing it? Are you going to sign this one here for Philip?
I will absolutely do that.
All right, there you go, Phil.
You to get me the name, the address, and we'll make sure we give that the full treatment.
You got it. So actually, and again, this has got nothing to do with it, but actually, it's Philip's birthday today.
There you go, destiny.
Yes. Don't get him started. There was a whole conversation this morning on Brad Brock's show, the Jams and Cocktails show, about reincarnation and apparently, I guess Kennedy.
Okay.
What was all right? So Philip, correct me if I'm wrong. So Kennedy either was born or died. Okay, so he died yes, yes, and then also apparently Genghis Khan was also died today. Also, we found this out this morning. So check out the Jams and Cocktails, Jams and Coffee every. Oh, I'm getting off track here. Every day during the week here, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Check out Brad show there. It's a great way to wake up and find out some great facts about pop culture and so forth. And that's what we found out today, that Philip's birthday is today. And we found out that JFK died also today. Found out Genghis Khan died today, and they were thinking, Matt, that Philip could be actually JFK reincarnated.
It's possible.
Because he was born, I guess, the same year. Yes, so that's what he's saying there. So yeah, so happy birthday, Philip.
His birthday is November 22nd, 1963.
I think that's what right. Am I correct on that, Philip? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what you guys. I missed a little bit of the conversation this morning, but I believe that is correct. So he'll go ahead and correct me in a second here. Hopefully when we catch up here. So yeah. So you're saying when's your birthday, Philip? Yes, please, autographed. Okay, talking about the book, JFK Day. Yeah. So I'll let the chat catch up. I believe he was. I think he was indeed correct. So yes,
well done.
he was born in '63. So
well done. That would make him 59 today.
yes. So not quite there yet to retirement age. Because it seems like.
Hell, I'm retired and I'm not that old.
Oh,
so.
there. We need to figure.
I work my house off, but at least I don't work for somebody else. So
that is true, right? It's always it's good to be your own boss, right? So that is true. So yeah, so congrats to Philip there for scoring the book there. Matt is going to get that out to you. I'll send Matt your address, Philip, and then definitely for everyone else who played it, I'll send you something there for something else for prize. Not a book, but at least you get something from the show here. And again,
cinnamon syrup recipe.
yeah, there you go. So, but yeah, I appreciate everyone tuning in. You guys are the normal crew that comes and hangs out and so forth there. So, but yeah, so let's again, congrats to Philip there, and let me go ahead and wrap up a little bit here. We'll do some of our plugs here. Oh, I messed that up again. See, once I started moving things around. All right, so there we go. We'll figure it out. There we go, something to that effect. All right, so as we go through, we wrap up the show there. I know a couple. We'll do our first. Well, go ahead, Matt. First, let's go. Let you go first here. Your shameless plugs. What do you
Shameless
want?
plug.
There you go.
What do we got? So cocktailwonk.com for my tiki content, rumwonk.com for my rum content, Wonk Press for all of your tropical and tiki cocktail needs, including minimalist tiki at wonkpress.com, and also modern Caribbean rum. I don't drop it, so heavy. But yeah, modern Caribbean rum for all your rum information. Shipping very soon, hopefully. And yeah, those are my plugs.
All right. So there. Right. So yes, you definitely. So that book definitely you drop it on like and you got any bugs you need to kill that would definitely probably suffice for the bugs there. So yes. So Siri, do you get bingo just now? Hold on, you confused me, Siri. So all right, so yeah, we'll check up. We'll catch up here in a second. Yeah, so definitely check out our group of rum enthusiasts and so forth. The Rum Posse, Jami from Ready Set Rum, Rushan, his partner Cole, and Royer from the Just Drinking YouTube channel. They're on Wednesday nights. They do a live show also, and they also do some weekly reviews. Don't forget to check out Mia from My Rum Diaries. She also does YouTube content. She actually has acquired her Rumlier certifications as well too. She's gone through that. And also our good friend Jams and Coffee in the morning, 8 a.m. every day, during the week. And also the Jams and Cocktails evening show there on every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Definitely tomorrow night they're doing a pretty cool. They're I guess they got again it's family time, holiday time. Folks are coming together. They're going to pair up the Dark Side of the Moon with the Wizard of Oz movie.
Oh yeah.
So have you done that, Matt?
I've not done that, but I know there's usually cannabis involved as well.
I know that's what I asked. This is at what time do you start tripping start taking the acid for to sit down and watch that?
It's supposedly a very particular moment where you start the album. I think it's like when it switches into color.
Yeah,
like
right. The third lion roar or something to that. I don't know. So they got something going on.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate. Yeah.
All right. Philip said Dark Side of Oz, I guess is what it's called. So yeah, so he's got a show tomorrow night over on YouTube also to tune in. They do a little bit of podcast, video podcast first, and then they'll go right into their. I'm not quite sure how they're going to do it yet, but I know definitely Brad and I also have a couple other things cooking that we keep hinting about for some other cocktail and out spirits related content. Stay tuned to that. And then lastly, before I forget, actually, wanted to just go ahead and mention the guys I had on the podcast that dropped today. I met them down at the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival. And actually, this is why I kind of hit you up with one of those questions about Panama was Steven and Shamus from Rum Rats. They have their product made down in Panama
Okay.
with one of the large makers down there.
There's two. So Abuelo or Las Cabras. So
So I think it was. Hold on.
it's in the book.
Oh, so where is there? I thought it was Pilsa.
Pilsa, yeah, Las Cabras.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so I haven't, like I said, I just got the book. I haven't had a chance to read it all the way through yet, so to kind of flip through it. I met those guys last 2 weeks ago down in the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival, taping an episode. They're new to the market. They've got a kind of interesting, way that they're trying to approach here. Uh, to kind of, again, anyone who's new into the market, as we all know, it's tough to crack in there. So they're trying to do a little bit different style, different technique. And yeah, I think it was a pretty fun interview there. Shamus is from Canada, and also Steven is from Canada as well. And even though the rum's made down there in Panama, they talked about their whole story. Steven is Irish, so you may need a little bit of subtitles on that, but it was actually definitely fun. We had a good time listening. But again, we learned about a new product, learned about an opportunity for a company to get their product, the word out there. Follow them on all the socials to see what they're up to. Again, I think it's again, it's not another pirate brand. At least I guess is from what I heard.
Thank goodness for that.
Yes. So all right. So we acid with cinnamon. Jordan, we'll have to. So there's Brad's better half. JT. Yes. Play for us. Yes, the cinnamon challenge there. They did that on their show, the cinnamon challenge there. So
Oh, I know what that is. Yeah.
they actually did it on their show, and it was interesting. I'm glad I wasn't on the show that night, so I would have had to gone through it. But all right, so I guess I appreciate Matt for coming on and hanging in here for a good hour and a half in there. I appreciate you walking me through making the cocktail here. Hopefully others check out the book, order the all your books.
Yeah.
You know,
All of them.
yeah,
Triple good.
all of them. Buy for your whole family, everyone. Again, it's definitely a book that. Again,
You get a book, and you get a book.
you
and
get a
you
book. Yes, you're going to be on Oprah's book club there, right?
Yes,
So
we're hoping.
check that out there. Like I said, if you're looking for something for somebody who's you're not quite sure what to get them, again, I think that maybe they look books, but maybe they're not a rum drinker or whatever. I think they would find it interesting. Again, it's not all about, as Matt mentioned, it's not about reviews. It's not necessarily solely a rum book. There's a lot of different things in here, liquors. We talked about different types of alcohols in here. How to make some of the syrups. Some of the recipes. Again, I think it's just a real fascinating. Again, it's the as we said, right, the dip the toe into the encyclopedia. That's the book that's on the counter behind Matt. So
Thank you.
yes. So yes, Matt, thank you. And we enjoyed tonight's content and knowledge. All right, Philip. Very nice. All right. So so let's give it up here for Matt Pietrek, our Drums and Rums alum who's been on the podcast. And again, I was great having that conversation with him. Learned a lot, still learning a lot from him. So this show also too was a great learning opportunity as well too. So Matt, I thank you. I appreciate you taking the time tonight, coming and hanging out, giving away some prizes, making some drinks. We have a new inaugural. Did we call it that right? So Jordan, I don't think you saw it here. Jordan, if you're still in the chat, we're gonna flip back here. We're gonna show you the cocktail cam we've got set up here. This is what I think the JNC that we need to talk to Brad about. You guys need to get a cocktail cam going on there when you're making your drinks there on the Wednesday night show. So definitely. We'll talk more about it. So yeah, we have a new cocktail cam. We're gonna have to do more with it. We're gonna have to step up. Well, hey, you know what? I have a book that has got a whole bunch of cocktails I can make from it now. So there we go. So maybe we're gonna start doing more.
Love it.
So yes. So all right.
Well, thank you for having me on. This was a big pleasure, and you can tell I was enjoying it because I made a second cocktail while we were talking. So
yeah, you didn't bust in and say, "Hey, hold on, I gotta take this call. I gotta go."
yeah, no. No, we're gonna go for it.
Yeah. So I definitely appreciate it. Thanks, Matt. Thanks everyone for tuning in
you,
here.
everybody.
All right. Have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right.
See y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. So I appreciate everybody all for hanging in here tonight there with Matt and I. And So all the chases, hold on, I'm trying to catch up here in the chat. Yep, so I'm still here, hanging out here with you guys. Awesome prize. All right, clap chases. Paul, you know where to find me. Uh-oh. So I think I might be in trouble here with somebody. So we're gonna have to take off Jordan's. Heck yeah. So yeah. So no, I appreciate it. This was definitely a great little fun episode there. Like I said, had the idea to hook up with Matt again after taping the first episode with the podcast and kind of going through this idea of the cocktail, the book, the minimalist tiki, and kind of trying to think about some ideas and how to go through it with them and have some fun as well too. So yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoy the bingo. I know for those that that you didn't win. There's always next time. I think the bingo is definitely a place. If you don't think so, let me know. If you think to keep the bingo going, we'll definitely keep that going. Maybe every couple months we'll do it again, and kind of give some stuff away. And again, for those of you who came into the chat there, I do have something I'll send you soon here as well too. So again, I appreciate y'all for hanging out here tonight. So it's a good night, and hopefully y'all enjoy the holidays coming up here. Thank you for coming over on a Tuesday night. I know it's a little off our schedule. But again, I didn't want to have obviously Thanksgiving do a show. I'll probably get in trouble with the family. And also, I know there's a couple other shows. Obviously Brad, Brock, Jordan, and the crew is going to be on tomorrow night for their Wednesday night show. So they're back on live for tomorrow with their Wizard of Oz, Dark Side of the Moon. And so definitely check that out too. So like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out. It's going to be some fun too. So definitely check them out. Again, they're part of our podcast network. And so what was this? George, that was my first definitely fun. So yeah, all right, Sean, that was your first time. All right, cool. Yeah. So again, hopefully we'll do more of these and have some fun. And again, kind of make it a little bit informed. Again, great. It's great to have a little bit of context with somebody as we go through the bingo and when we call whatever the bingo words are to talk through and explain it. Kind of like what we did with the Ringo Bingo, where we talked a little bit of the story behind the word or reference to each bingo word. So again, I appreciate you hanging out there. Oh, so Philip says, it was fun. We go to a Mexican restaurant that has bingo night and we play and drink, play, drink, play and drink more. So, so speaking of that, Philip, when are you guys are all going to hook up together? The Tennessee crew. When when are we going to make that happen? Is you and Pam and Siri, and when are you guys all gonna, I want to see photos. I want to see a remote or the chapter, the Drums and Rums chapter and the Tennessee chapter show up there. So I want some pictures. I want to see an event going on at the same time here. So that would be awesome. So so tune in again tomorrow night for Brad, Brock, Jams, and Cocktails, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I appreciate everybody all tuning in. Have a great night. I'll talk to you all next week. See ya.